The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily Rogers or Rogers TV. Hi everyone, this is Tina and welcome to Mommy Talk. Today's subject is our teeth and our dental hygiene. We're going to talk all about teeth brushing and everything we can do to promote good mouth health. So we have a few guest moms on the show today, and one being our expert as well. Denise Haldane is one of our moms. Can you tell us a little bit about your family?
It's just myself and my daughter Olivia, who is 5.
Okay. Yeah. And Laura Lachance, can you tell us about your children and family?
Well, I'm the mother of 4. We had 1, then 2, then twins, and they're all young adults now, but they're still at home.
Oh, great. Cool. And Denise, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with your young daughter and teeth brushing and dental hygiene?
I think that at the beginning it's always so confusing as to when do you start brushing their teeth? If they only have one little tooth, are you brushing it and whatever. So it's good to, I asked around, I found out as soon as they have teeth you can start brushing.
Yeah.
Even if it's just with fingers, getting that motion. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll have to check with that. But yeah, and Livy liked it right from the beginning.
She loved brushing her teeth right from the beginning.
Yeah, now it's a little more difficult though.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that can be hard. I have a 2.5-year-old Esri, and she sometimes it's just like, no, I don't want to do this, so sometimes with young kids especially it's something that's difficult, so it's definitely a good subject to talk about. And Laura, what about your children, your 4 children? How was that growing up with the dental hygiene, and how did you get into it personally?
Well, I got into it personally because as a young child I had terrible teeth. And I was absolutely petrified of the dentist. Oh. I grew up in Britain, and I'm one of those folks who ate a lot of sugar when they were growing up. And my very first memory of the dentist is with a sore tooth and having to have it drilled and filled. Oh. And all my life I said if ever I became a mother, I was going to be sure that my children didn't have to have that kind of an early experience.
Yeah.
And it really led me into my profession.
Yeah.
And I've been able, through my work and in the community, to help young moms and families learn about prevention.
Yeah, this is such an important thing nowadays, with all the treats and the school snacks and the everything. It's something that we really need to focus on is what to eat, what not to eat, and whatnot. And that's got to be hard. I mean, your daughter is starting school, or?
She will be an SK.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they're trying to promote healthy snacks at school. So there's a few times that Olivia has brought something home telling me, well, we were told that we have to eat the healthy stuff first.
Yeah, so and this is something that we're definitely going to ask Laura to help us out with as moms, to make sure that we are making good choices and doing the right thing when we start off our family's dental hygiene and good mouth health. Yeah. So after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Laura as an expert, and she's going to give us some tips and pointers and some very, very useful information for our families. The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily Rogers or Rogers TV. Welcome back to Mommy Talk. We're now going to discuss with Laura Lachance a little bit about her profession. Can you tell us about your profession as a dental hygienist?
Thank you. Well, dental hygienists weren't always around, and they've been around, licensed dental hygienists since for about 50, 60 years now, but there's still some places where you wouldn't find dental hygienists in remote areas. And the training for a dental hygienist is a community college program.
Right.
When I did my training, it was a university program at the University of Toronto. And a dental hygienist is now licensed through the Health Disciplines Act by the College of Dental Hygienists of Ontario.
Okay.
And there are many different settings in which a dental hygienist can work.
Okay.
You're probably most familiar with the dental hygienist at a dental office.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But dental hygienists can work independently in their own office.
Great.
And dental hygienists can work in public health, and dental hygienists can work in administration. And interestingly, though, of all the dental hygienists across the country, by far the majority are women.
Oh, wow.
It's a career that's very appealing to women.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of part-time employment.
Okay.
So you could put together part-time employment around raising your family. I did.
Yeah.
I didn't work very much when my children were young, but I was able to keep a couple of shifts a week and keep my finger in it while my children were young.
Yeah, so that was a perfect career choice for you as a mom as well. That's great. And so then you pointed out that some of them work in the dental offices, but then some don't. They work independently.
Right.
What is it that you do?
So what is it that I do? I have done a little bit of both. And most recently, I've opened my own business here in Collingwood.
Awesome.
Blue Horizon Dental Hygiene, where I provide independent dental hygiene services to the community. Part of what I've enjoyed to do through my career is to be a resource person to help different community groups. I've gone out and about in the community and spoken to different groups.
Oh, wow.
Different ages of children or adult groups, folks with certain health issues. And it's an opportunity to share my tool bag, my kit bag of tricks and to share the importance of prevention, because we understand much more now about how having good oral health is linked to total health. And very, very important to start out with our smallest ones, getting them on the right track to a healthy life.
Yeah, well, that's what's really important to the people tuning into this show is let's start with newborns and children. Like, where do we start when it comes to dental hygiene?
Well, it's often a very interesting topic because it makes mommies think about their own dental hygiene.
Yeah.
And some mummies, you know, are way more pay way more attention to that than others do. But sometimes it's a bit of an awakening as a mom when you're now faced with looking after your little one. All the best things to do, it can help you be healthier. Be healthier as well. So the talk about teeth really has to happen right away. Perhaps even when you're pregnant.
Wow, really?
That a dental hygienist would share with you some tips and facts about what to do, what not to do, and where to get really good information, because there's lots and lots of really good information available now.
Yeah.
Both on the internet, if you have access to computers, through the public health departments, or even likely from your doctor's office or from your midwife.
Right. You mentioned being pregnant. I am myself pregnant. Does that change something in my teeth possibly? Like, do I have to take better care, or is there something that changes during pregnancy that would affect my dental hygiene?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
There's not so much your teeth, but your gum health. There's a huge hormonal umbrella over gum health in women. And often when you're pregnant, or even for some folks when they take the birth control pill, any change in the levels of the hormones from before pregnancy, during pregnancy, can affect the response to plaque on your teeth.
That's so interesting.
So
No idea.
not pregnant, a little bit of plaque may cause a little problem, big bit of plaque, a lot of problem. But when you're pregnant, and a lot of women have trouble with bleeding gums in response to a small amount of plaque.
Wow.
I did, and I had no idea.
When you were pregnant?
Yeah, when I was pregnant, I had no idea the correlation of
So
the
it's
two.
really, really important. It's not a time to be slacking off in your home care.
Right.
But you know, if you're feeling ill and you're not having a very good time being pregnant, it's probably the last thing on your mouth is brushing your teeth.
Yeah,
You know, but
yeah.
we really encourage you, in spite of not feeling well, to make sure that you keep everything squeaky clean
Yeah.
to prevent any of these bleeding gum problems.
Yeah, especially like being with the pregnancy thing, the morning sickness and maybe the acids in the mouth
right.
and stuff like that. So then touching on beyond pregnancy and the children, I know that I always thought that you don't start talking to your children about tooth and dental care until they had a tooth. Is that true?
No, certainly in preparation for
What I had just said.
in preparation for teeth, the first teeth don't usually grow in anywhere between 5 and 7 months. You might see a lower front tooth. At bath time, you can be taking a cloth or a very soft brush and making it part of the self-care piece. Just finger in a little washcloth and just rubbing along the gum crest where the teeth are going to grow in.
And so is that something you do before the babies get their teeth?
Sure, you can.
Yeah.
Sure you can.
Just to promote that the mouth,
Right.
like the habits more like?
Right. To
Okay.
get them used to something. The sooner we can get you used to having somebody
Absolutely.
touching there, the better. You know, it's very interesting. Sometimes babies, and it's one of the things that your medical team checks when the baby's first born, because sometimes newborns can have teeth.
Right. Oh,
And-
yeah. I've heard of that
Yeah, I've
before.
heard
Have you
that
heard
too.
that too?
And you know, if that was the case, usually those teeth are wiggled out.
Yeah.
They're typically extra teeth, and they're usually wiggled out to
Yeah.
avoid any concern.
Is there a lot of bacteria in babies' mouths, young children's mouths? Or is it-
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and especially if you're showering them with mummy love, and
Yeah.
you're kissing them, and maybe licking their spoons and
Yeah.
forks, and sharing utensils.
Right.
There's a lot
That's-
of
there's the
bacteria
transference, yeah.
in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And they think actually that some of that bacterial transference is one of the things that is responsible for this early childhood decay.
Right. So yes, In Ontario, is there a major problem with childhood decay?
There is, and you know, it's more common than asthma in children.
Wow.
It accounts for a certain number of days days missed off school. But the neat thing about it is, in almost all cases, it's totally preventable. And it's very important to make it part of the routine as soon as possible.
Right.
As soon as there are teeth, and as we just mentioned, even before teeth,
Yep.
to be rubbing or brushing, and it doesn't have to be, you know, a 7-month-old is not going to sit there and
No.
open their mouth and
Yes.
hold still, but part of the bathing routine, to just take a little toothbrush and
Yeah.
brush the tooth and the gum that surrounds the tooth,
Wow.
brushing
wow.
the teeth and gums.
So then touching on children, and when we start getting into those habits and whatnot, like we talked about in the first part, kids that go to school, if we can move up to the children in school, nutrition, where do we go there? Like, I know it's so hard nowadays to choose foods that are good for our kids. I mean, you know, sending
They're
them to
affordable
school.
and good.
Yeah,
Right.
affordable
Good
and
for your teeth, good for your
So,
body.
okay,
what
and
advice
tastes good.
can you have?
So sure, so let's jump a little bit to that,
Yeah.
because from a dental hygiene perspective, we
Yeah.
would recommend that you avoid pop.
Yeah.
We would recommend that you avoid an awful lot of drinks that have sugars and chemicals added to them. And even we have some concern about fruit juice. Too
Yeah.
much fruit juice because of the natural sugars and the acidity of the fruit juice. So for small people, we would recommend that you minimize, eliminate, or at the least dilute.
Yeah.
You know, fruit juices.
Yeah, I've heard of the diluting, yeah.
School lunch boxes, there's lots of really good advice available from a local dietitian or from your doctor's office, you know, what to put in and what not to put in. And I've seen examples in some school lunch boxes where the food is all processed, very chemical, and there's little bags of candy in there.
Right.
And from a dental perspective, we would not recommend that little ones get sent to school with treats. That they should be sent to school with food in their lunchbox.
But you know, realistically, I know you have a daughter that's a school age. I mean, how is it possible to get your daughter not to want like the fruit snacks and the other things? I mean, how is that possible for a mom to see those things on the shelves and avoid those things?
Introduce them as late as possible.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's a lot of things that my daughter has, like she had never tasted juice of any variety until she was about 2.5, and still she's only had apple juice that's diluted and orange juice, and she's 5.
Yeah,
and she's never had anything else.
You know, as moms, you have to remember our children don't know about decision making. And it's really our decisions that are affecting them.
We're the leaders.
You're supplying.
That's true. Yeah.
And I can remember actually when Olivia was a baby that I had told her that apples were a treat. And so we went into this whole big thing about if she eats all of her dinner, then she could have a treat, and it would be apples. And you can't have too many apples and whatever, like trying to make it be that rather than be cookies and stuff, which I have a very bad habit of snacking on high sugar food. But I tried to keep that until after.
Yeah, because you'd think, oh, well, what's wrong with apples? You know what I mean? Like, and it's not that there's something wrong with apples, but it's just having too many of something,
and they have sugar in
too
them
much sugar in even the natural things, the things you would think that are more natural. There's still a harm to your teeth. There are.
Yeah. And the thing that we have to remember though, because it's not just food that causes decay. It's and if it was just one thing that caused decay, you know, we'd be able to prevent it more than we are able to do now. But it's the keeping the teeth clean that's perhaps even more important.
Right.
And, you know, we talked about you've got a fussy 2-year-old who doesn't want to brush her teeth. And our advice is this. You know, if your fussy 2-year-old had a poopy diaper that needed to be changed and she wasn't in the mood to change her poopy diaper, what would you do?
Well, I would force her to change it. I would not leave her in it. No,
you would sit on her.
Optional.
You would sit on. You would sit on her and
do it
and change the diaper. You might need someone else to help you, but that diaper would get changed.
Right.
And that's as black and white as we feel in our profession about cleaning your teeth.
Right. Can I ask though, like especially with your daughter going into school, what about if the other children are like? How do you tackle where other parents' decisions are influencing your decisions? You know, you're sending her with these healthy things, but then another child, like you mentioned, has a box full of candy.
They're actually not allowed to share in Olivia's school at all, and I think that's more of an allergy concern.
Right.
But they're not. There's been a few times where I've sent my daughter with something and saying, "Here, you can share this with your friend," and she'll bring it home saying we're not allowed to share.
Yeah. I'm sure they sneak it under the table here and there, but I mean, we tried it. That's a good program, though.
It's persistence and consistency and talking about it a lot when they're small. You know, we're going to have lunch now with your 2-year-old. We're going to have this because it's, you know, it's a fruit and fruits are good for you, and really talking it up. So by the time your child has heard all about good food and good things and good habits and when to and how much and when not to, that they'll come to school to face those children that haven't had that same background, and perhaps help some of the other children as well. But it's very, very difficult. I was evil because there were my children asked and asked and asked me to buy this and buy that, and my friends at school have this, and can we have this, and can we have that? But I felt really, really strongly that that wasn't happening at home.
Right. So let's touch on a couple other things, like children with special needs and resources for those children. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So, you know, the question comes when a family has a child with special needs. They're often overwhelmed with all kinds of medical issues or stressful. It's very, very stressful. And sometimes it's a bit of a surprise that, yes, children who have special needs should have their teeth cleaned as well. Same as changing their diapers, changing their diapers. And there's lots and lots of resources that have been developed for children who have short attention spans, for children who live with conditions under the autism umbrella, for children with intellectual disabilities. And often dental hygienists work together with occupational therapists to help mom and dad or the caregiver to show them different positioning and different techniques for helping to keep their teeth
And
clean.
where can someone find these resources?
So the resources, certainly I have quite a library of resources that I'd be glad to share, to contact me. But online, again, if you have access to a computer, or if you're networked through early childhood services, to ask an occupational therapist for some advice, and they would be able to give you some guidelines.
That's great. Do you have any questions for Laura?
So is there any support out there for low-income families?
Absolutely, and the best doorway to finding out about that is to contact the health department, the public health department. There are a couple of programs, and any child who is in need of urgent care is covered under provincial plan.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. Is there anything else that I can do right now besides nutrition to be looking after my daughter's teeth?
Absolutely. We recommend brushing teeth and gums. Ideally, the most important time is before bed, and then add a second time in the morning before going out, and flossing. Where little teeth touch, cavities can begin, and that's probably the most important thing that you can do to help your child prevent decay, is to be flossing her teeth at bedtime. And your dental professional can show you tools and gizmos and to make that easy and enjoyable.
Right. Well, there's just so much information that we could talk about. There are so many things that are involved in our mouth health, and we really appreciate you coming on, Laura, and telling us about it. Definitely, if people want to make an appointment with you, they can call your new office and make an appointment and come in and talk to you about their mouth and go from there with their children. So thanks so much, everyone. We really appreciate you tuning in today and talking about our mouths and our teeth. And thank you to Laura for being our expert, and Denise for our mom.
Yes, of course.
The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily Rogers or Rogers TV. Welcome back to Mommy Talk. One of the things we love to do is go out into the community and find fun, family places to spend time together and enjoy each other. My daughter Esri and I went out and we found somewhere really fun. Let's take a look. We're here at the paint bar with Bonnie and Esri, Esri's actually already started her painting. She's painting a little elephant. Esri, are you having fun painting? That's great. So Bonnie, when families come into the paint bar, where do we start? What do we do to get going? We pick out a pottery.
Yes, you go to our shelves, which is full of pottery, and you pick out the individual piece you would like to paint, which usually takes a lot of time. Then you sit at our table. We have color charts that you pick your colors from. And once you've picked your colors, I or the other salespeople in here will get you your paint, your water, you sit down, you have fun, and away you go.
Do we have lots of colors available? Are there tons of colors to pick from?
We probably have about 50 different colors to choose from.
That's great. And how many different types of pottery do you have to choose from? And what are some of the characters or animals or whatnot?
We have anything from bunnies to bears to owls to even snakes.
I saw a dog bowl outside.
And we do
Someone
the dog
painted
bowls,
a dog
which
bowl.
have become very, very popular.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And we do everything that you could possibly think of,
Oh, that's
from
great.
kitchen to living room.
That's great. So then if someone wanted to come in with a few children, like a birthday party or something, what would they do then? They'd come in and there's
They
a package?
call us, or they could come in and we book it for them.
Okay.
And we have a specialty room at the back that we set them all up in. And again, they choose their colors and their items, which they can do ahead of time or the day of.
That's awesome. And then what if they didn't want to do it on site? What can they do then?
We can have Kit to Go, it's called, and they can come in and pick out their items. We can package it up, send home paints, brushes, our sponges, and they can return it to us, and it's usually ready within a couple of days after they return it.
That's great. Are you having fun, Esri? That looks amazing. Well, that's great. So where can people go to find out information about the paint bar?
We have a website, and it's www.thepaintbar.ca, or you can go to thepaintbar.yahoo, and it will direct you as well.
That's so wonderful. Thanks so much for having us.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate it. And Esri's having such a great time.
They all have a fun time in here.
Look at that big smiley. Wasn't that great?
At the end, she just loved it.
Yeah.
And she was so pretty neat and tidy. I thought she might have.
Yeah, she wasn't painting all over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah,
That's
that was great. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. This is Mommy Talk on Rogers TV.